That's working. I haven't forgotten how to do everything. Let's go! Alright. Everything should be up. Let's get SG on the screen. Come on, game capture. Oh, you. I say as the game is displaying on my end, and will my graphics drivers just bug out? Gotta be kidding me. Okay, that was really weird. Hello, Hunter. How are you this evening? Alright. Everything should be set up. I think we're all good to go. Let's see who's on queue. And hopefully my game doesn't explode because lol Lamau windowed. If that's the case, I'll figure something else out. I guess I'll put up a lobby. But yeah, for now, it's been a while since I've done this. Please yell at me if anything's out of whack. Audio, yada yada, anything. Just let me know and I'll get right on all of that. Because I am rusty. Streets of New Meridian. Oh, we're playing band. Okay. The best part is I can't even tell if... Oh, we're not mashing. Oh, huh. I thought I'd forget that. Good night, sweet prince. I'll give them one more game, but if the connection stays this iffy, I'm probably going to try and find some months. Oh, that's awesome. It's not promising at all. Oh boy. That actually caught me, that's why. I tried them. First speed. But I missed the info. I'm getting mixed. Oh, oops. Yeah, I had used Egret, hadn't I? Yeah, connection's not great. I'll go see if I can find someone else in queue. Hey. Oh, I just said I'd find someone else and I hit like. Hello, Zillow. Welcome all. It's been a minute. Oh, I thought medium kicked it. Well, I guess I pressed it too early. My connection. That wasn't a camp hit. That didn't come up. I think so, Kathy. I think that would be a fine matchup. I just need to remember. Pretty sure that would go down reasonably well. Can I find this really quickly? No. Wait, I should already be signed in. Okay, there we go. Is that exploding? Okay, whatever. Yeah, that should be fine. I found what I was looking for. Sick. There's a decent chance I forget when we get there, so just yell at me the second it comes up. Because, I mean, it'll be right as the event starts. It'll be right at 7, so just be here, and if I, like, ask for open lobby participants, just remind me. But yeah, I am here. It's been a minute. If there are any issues with audio, video, yada yada yada, please let me know. It's been a while. Stuff might have gotten broken in the time I've been gone. This is the best time to let me know before the events actually started. But y'all know that deal. Video, audio check, the whole shebang. Now I'm just trying to kill time, letting people filter in, trying not to get Wi-Fi gamers on QM, but that seems to be a little bit more difficult at the moment. Come on, QM, get something good for me. Fine, whatever. Whatever. El Lobo. I mess around with this a little bit.
Ready? Can't turn down a fan.
So this team interests me, even though I don't know if I'll ever like playing Bella. She's never quite made sense to me. Burst. Yeah, but I scaled myself because I kind of was burst. I could have sniped into SBO. Murder. So this is a combo. That's awkward. I must have been slow. I swear that should combo. Am I crazy?
One more time.
Target confirmed.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
He blocks. That comes in dope. No damage. I just we can call it later or earlier. Still got these. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna end up sticking with my team.
One more time.
If I want, I don't think I'm gonna do this, but if I wanted to be a sweat, I'd probably just end up playing some variation of P double fortune. Because I think that seems silly. Oh, right, that happens. And the tier is gonna ruin that, I knew it. Do we know how to get through being shot? Kind of. God, that assist is silly. I forget it vacuums in like that. Didn't get 2 HP in though. That's that works. Yeah. I'm also contemplating running Spiral for my team. That would be. I did not mean to hit play again. Okay, just bullying this guy? Yeah, that's fair. Spiral is such a nuts assist, but my team just uses Butchers so well. Even though Butchers is a pain, that lockout hurts. But Hyper Armor is Hyper Armor. You gotta respect it. Well, you don't have to. I'm surprised people don't sweep it more. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, no, I'm probably one of the people who believes more in Butchers in terms of all of the gang I like to talk about the game with, but man, the lockout really hurts. But as a forward moving assist, especially because it has hyper armor, I've gotten really used to using that. And I'm not entirely sure how much better my team would function if I went to Spiral. I don't know if I'd want to go for D&B over Cremation. It's a choice. It's something I probably need to dabble with, but Spiral is nuts. Spiral is actually a phenomenal assist. You just need to be close enough to use it. The amount of chip that thing does is wild, and it is a wall. But you gotta get in. And what Butchers helps me do is get in. Which is why one of the reasons why I really like it. because otherwise it's kind of hard to lock down some characters. I know I really try to use butchers to get in on Ps, especially certain Ps at times, because it just bullies its way through assists. Because no one runs sweep assists. Besides Clyde. Clyde counts. What do I feel like doing?
We're gonna get you.
M-clone.
Ready?
Tally ho!
Let's try D&B
Let's
Spiral.
dance, darling.
If you want silly, I don't know how well it helps for Umbrella, but Band Axe is actually hilarious. Bum, bum. That's weird. What is going on? What am I doing? I don't play this character. Oh man, my Fuko is never good. Why am I not just doing stun heavy punch after that? Yeah, Band Axe is silly, but that Band has some pretty good DHC synergy with Eliza as well. Stun the bar. Much. I'm obviously shocked all that connected. I'm on this side of you, apparently. Bum, bum, bum. That's awkward. No, I need to hold the... I forget how to do those routes. I haven't practiced the finger twister in a while.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Skullgirls.
To the corner with you. Come Dragon Bite, secure the neutral. Fuck this. I don't remember my Fuku heavy count here. Wait, I should be doing this versus you, shouldn't I? Alright.
Contiello tradition lives on.
I couldn't do it without you.
Now you're cooking with gas.
A little bit of bully, but yeah, okay. I'll get the lobby up. I guess we only need 3 people. I don't think I have a guest today. All the other gamers are out of commission. Got anyone? Nope. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Give me 3rd player lobby. Alright, alright, alright. Already a little bit early, but all set up. Let's get the show on the road. Got the lobby link up, got it pinned. We got Kathy here. Hopefully, Tsukinomi will also be here. Oh, hello. Oh, saw your message right after I said the thing. Apologies. But yeah, so we got 5 whole games today. Well, 5 flat games regardless of result. But I don't think you had any comments about what you wanted to look for. So I'll just keep an eye out. I mean, if you don't, like, it's not a big deal. Some people just ask, like, very specifically if they're trying to focus on anything, but if you just want broad general advice, we're perfectly fine with that. That works for us. Would recommend pausing the stream so you don't have someone talking in your ear and distracting you while you play, as well as it just helps save bandwidth if for whatever reason that ends up becoming an issue. So yeah, that's the usual spiel. Let's see what's going on.
After you, Krieg.
Quiet on the set.
Alright, pair of Eliza point. Immediately aggressive, going in. I like the idea on the throw. Both y'all are just a little bit early with them. So you're looking really comfortable. I would honestly... Oh, unfortunate. Consider learning a better heavy counter hit. Because that's a little finicky and it scales you pretty quickly because of airball. But I really like how you're pressuring behind your assists. You're doing a good job calling decent times. Trades, nice. Giving them space out of the corner, just off the zone, fair enough. And then you run forward behind your assist. Wow. Kathy really got the counter hit a lot. Yeah. Also keep in mind, doing the burst bait like that, depending on what they burst, they can burst the projectile and it's not actually burst bait. But we killed here. Nice, okay. It's a good start. Really good pressuring behind the assist. The way you play, you really like to play aggressive, which is why I was a little bit surprised when you gave the band that much space in that corner. But keep an eye out. You're doing a lot of things really well right off the gate. Loving it. Do we change up our own start, or do we do the exact same thing? Patience. Get that. Get the hit. What's the mix? Messed up slightly, but Kathy is matching immediately. Oh, yeah, right idea. Gotta punish that. We gotta chill, Kathy, with how much we're pressing. I understand why we're getting counter hit so much. It's because we're kind of just throwing the kitchen sink at them. Yeah. Really good patience. Recognize your tier's gonna mess up that upcoming. It's a little awkward. Salvaged it, but could have been painful. We're in. Yeah. And you're giving up a lot of space that I don't think you need to. Unless you really just want to play patient and play the runaway game for the rest of the... work. Yeah, big overcommitment. Oh, don't push block that, Kathy. It is completely unsafe. They had nowhere to DHC into, and even if they did, the only thing Parasol can do there is bikes, and you want her as close as possible to your bikes for the PBGC punish. I don't think this kills. We should have gone for another mix. Not quite recognizing her damage. Getting caught scared after we got tagged. It happens. But yeah, so... I think you're kind of just a little bit of a deer in the headlight, Kathy. It's... They're running at you with good pressure behind assists, and you're struggling to figure out what to deal with it. And then after you're getting hit, you're kind of just pressing and hoping to find a way out. From the situations I'm seeing, especially if they're using hairball and not lock and load, if you see the hairball coming, they're pressing behind it more often than not. And that's when I would argue you should try and use an invincible tool in neutral. I would 100% tone it down when you're actually blocking, because you need them off of you, and the way they're doing their offense and burst baits and all that sort of stuff, you're kind of just getting eaten up because they're expecting you to overextend. You've shown your hand, but you're more than willing to. Good DP. So more patient with push blocks and that sort of stuff. Okay. We're in. What does the Eliza do? Do we kill? Oh, that doesn't link. I don't think we got our light kick. The Ross, sweet. What's our incoming? Air throw? Yeah, so for you, Suki, one of the biggest things for the Para-Eliza matchup is understanding spacing and when you can't go for shots. This is one of the characters that can really punish you for bad shots. Alright. Spent the bar, you weren't quite sure it was going to kill. Yeah, you gotta be really particular with your incomings versus band, otherwise Timpani can be a real pain. Good patience. Unfortunate drop. Mix, catch them pressing again, counter hit. It's a nice Yumi. Alright, what do we do with this? We mash, we don't get the trigger. Cross up. Do we get the corner carry? Pretty sure you could have done jump heavy punch, air dash, jump heavy punch. Would have cost you some undizzy, but I would argue getting the incoming in the corner is massively worth it. Corner carry on a corpse is a pretty major thing to consider. Level 3, just level 1. Okay, yeah, a lot simpler. But yeah, no, so big things in the Para-Eliza matchup. Boat is an annoying tool. Kind of gotta figure out ways to deal with it. Or bait it out, but they can special cancel it. But so that's the big anti-zoning tool for dealing with your projectiles. If they're in the air, be very cautious of using any shots, because air dash jump medium kick kind of just catches you from a lot of distances on reaction, as well as just a falling skeleton on your head can kind of catch you being a little cheeky. And then outside of that, thrown and H-caught especially can really catch you with how wide your legs are when you're going for shots, and thrown doesn't care about colliding with projectiles. So those are the major tools you want to be thinking about when you're playing this matchup. Yeah. Let's see what we got. I go for this round start again. Exact same overhead or mix. Gets out by mashing. We can afford to be a little bit more patient in this matchup. Yeah, Kathy, we gotta hold a bit more. Goes for cheeky overhead, don't get the confirm. Wake up brass, do that. You don't have a safe THC, you just send your super big band to death. Yep. So, with how we were doing those incomings, get a really good feel for when the tiers are going to detonate, because you can lose games by doing that. I say this from experience. It feels so bad. So always try and have an internal timer of when the first tier is going to go off, and if it's going to mess up the air throw, try and do a left-right incoming instead. Just stand under them and detonate them manually with stand heavy punch if you want, or stand medium punch. Does this work? It does. Interesting. I would not stand skeleton. Also for you, Kathy, for Eliza, try and start using 2 medium punch for your block strings and hit confirms. It is just significantly better in every way. Go for the micro dash, drop it. One of my people. I hate that link so much. Something to work on a little bit, but it's not the most important thing in the world. Yeah, I mean, it's decently important for Bella players, but I think it's only actually necessary on band. Level 3, spend the bar, I agree. One thing I will say, Suki, is I'm pretty sure you can use your meter a little bit more aggressively. Especially with the way your team is set up. You have Cerebella and Philia in the back, and they can combo off of their supers pretty well. So using them as damage engines to just DHC into. So you've had Kathy with their back to the corner for a very long time, and if you don't use OTG, you can just go into Dynamo and pick up from Bella from there. And it's a little bit of damage, and then it resets your scaling a bit. The same thing with Gregor, and Gregor works everywhere, thankfully, if you have practiced those confirms. Because you are starting... Well, not starting. You are pretty consistently at 4 or 5 bar by the end of the game, and then you use all of that to cash out on the final character. When I would argue it's better spent killing a character earlier. Getting rid of assists is so much more important than killing the last character. Get the corner carry. Raw tag to Philia. No. Also, another thing to note, Kathy, is for what you are pressing, there are sometimes better options. So you're choosing really committal things to do, and obviously pressing in disadvantage is always going to be a decent commitment, but if you're playing against a character like Philia, Band and Eliza Jab are actually really good at just dealing with her air dash, so if you think she's going to air dash at you, you kind of just press that, and it can just work. Yeah. Honestly, after that sweep, because it moved you forward, I would have honestly tried to do sweep into snap. Because snap breaks it, gets the wall bounce, and they come up. And you get the combo afterwards. Friendly reminder that snap does break skeleton. So, snap, sweep, and throw. All great tools. Really depends on your character's ranges for all of those options. Not all throws are built the same. Got caught up in the hit stop. It happens. What are we doing, Kathy? Yeah, went for the level 3 and it's throw vulnerable. Happens. Alright, Kathy taking the final game. So, one thing I will definitely say for you, Suki, for the Bella, that last game, it seemed to be getting decently impatient, so you're kind of just running into assists or other things. This might just be you not fully used to running an offense without assists behind you, which is fine. It's definitely a lot harder to do that. But in those situations, a patient offense can do a lot. You kind of let them call their assist in the panic, block it, get a little tag on it, get just that little bit of damage. They're still running away from you because they called their assist trying to just bail. So they ceded space, you got a bit of damage on their assist locked out for a little bit longer, then you can move forward again. That's pretty, like, I wouldn't say niche to that situation, but I would practice changing the pace of the game a little bit. Like in that situation for Bella, and also just for the Parasol, because you are pretty constant in. And every now and again, you can really ruin someone's day if they're expecting you to go in, and all of a sudden you just stand still and hit them with the spaced option instead. Like if you alter the pace of the game, which is one of the things Parasol is really good at, highly recommend. Not necessarily DP, just so instead of dashing in behind the assist, like stay back out of their range and shoot a shot, force them to block it, and then approach behind that, or just use like a 2 medium punch or a stat heavy punch, because those go pretty far. If you want to be really cheeky, you can go for a sweep. You're not going to get a combo if it hits, but it's just a chunk of damage. And to that point, slowing down the pace of the game or holding your ground, I would also suggest, when you're uncertain of what to do when you have them backed into the corner but you're a little bit afraid. It happened a couple of times. I saw this with the Parasol and the Philia, where you kind of just up-backed and then ran away when you had them backed in the corner. And so when you notice yourself doing that, I would suggest, once you've backed up a little bit, sit there, calm down, take a breath, analyze the situation. You're already outside all of their ranges. And instead of just giving up the full screen, you are now mid-screen with a little bit of space for them to fight their way out of the corner, but they now have to struggle to get out, and you can choose how to deal with whatever they do reactively. Or you can wait a sec, see if they're just a deer in headlights and doing nothing, call your assist, go back in. That will, I think, really help your offense in terms of those situations where it's like your incoming didn't quite work, you got push blocked out, and then you're like, oh, I guess we're resetting. You can reset neutral, but you don't need to be that far away to do it. But overall, I really liked a lot of what I was saying. You chose good times to pressure behind your assists. Routing might be the next step. I think I mentioned a little bit like in the first game. Might be something to look into improving. You might be at around the stage where you want to look into more optimized heavy counter hits to punish things like blocked SSJs or burst baits. Other things to think about, you weren't on defense all that much, and what I saw was pretty good. Yeah, I think those are the biggest points, the things I was talking about earlier. Focusing on offense, because that's what we got to see a lot of, is just change up the pace slightly, and take your time a little bit more. And then for Kathy's side, biggest thing on defense, you gotta stop pressing. There's no one size fits all or one rate, like one set rate that works best for defense. It is a dial you adjust. So if you notice yourself going for mashes, going for aggressive defensive options, and it's not working, so if it's getting blocked, if it's getting stuffed, if you're getting counter hit before the move comes out, that's the indication in game for you to tone down that dial for how much you're actively trying to fight your way out. I know, I've seen it, Kathy, but it's better than before, but it still needs to get toned down more. It's one of those things where in the first or second game of a set, I would encourage you to think about tallying how many times you get counter hit. And if you've been counter hit like over X amount, I don't necessarily want to assign a number. That's kind of more for you to figure out. Try and think about just cutting it off and really focusing on push blocking instead. And then once you've stuck to push blocking for a little while, start trying to sneak in a little bit more of the cheeky stuff again. Slowly turn that dial up, and you'll start catching people a lot more than just expecting you to mash. Yeah, I mean, habits, especially defensive habits, are really hard to adjust. You're sitting there getting the crap beat out of you in the corner, and you're like, please, get them off of me. And you just go primal. Like, those are some of the hardest instincts to get rid of. For this event specifically, we have signups ahead of time. They are active basically almost the entire week. They usually get put back up on Monday. And we have the form in our server, yes. Yeah, okay, and then I saw Suki had one final question before so normally struggle against Eliza and Umbi when it comes to my team. So I can't tell you for a fact about Philia or Bella. I know Bella really hates the Umbrella matchup, but I don't know how well she fares against Eliza. Parasol definitely doesn't like the Umbrella matchup, and the Eliza matchup is... Actually, I don't know where I'd describe it. I think it's just player-based. But it's... Parasol in general is just a character who needs to be really familiar with her tools, her opponent's tools, and how they interact, and that is something you will learn through playing, watching, and asking questions. So it's kind of just really try and be aware of their ranges. I'll tell you right now, I think Umbrella is my least favorite character to fight as Parasol. It's... Yeah, a lot of things change. And especially for Eliza and Parasol, they're also very... player expressive. That's the term. So it can vary from one player to a player. Like playing that matchup versus Nomlay is so much different from playing it versus like LD. Both those matchups. So it's a fun one, and you kind of get a feel for it. But the major tool to watch out for is HTP. You can get caught overextending so quickly by that button, and so it's one of those things where it's like, if I'm in this range, tread with incredible caution. That is one of the best tools Eliza has in that matchup. Okay, Josie... Is this Josie? Marinara? Josie and Dovad, I think you're good to go. Okay. Yeah. Apologies, I rambled so long at the end. I still do that. I can take a 2-month break, but you can't take the rambling out of me. I hope it's at least somewhat coherent and helps. Need to work on being a little bit more curt. P Ditto. Oh dear. Yep. Alright. So, as best I understand this matchup, getting more projectiles out is incredibly important. And one of the easiest ways to do that is stand heavy punch. So it's kind of just who can start pressing that button first and more often tends to get a lot of progress done in this matchup. Yeah, you can get caught out trying to punish it. Always be worried about what her DHC options are when she goes for Argus. Now this is the not fun matchup. Reflector out. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure whether it's better to try and set up Rav while she's running away, or just stick close. You're just so slow, it's so hard to stick with her. Yep, and so Lenny will eat a lot of hits. Keep that in mind. Looks like it works that way with Slurp and Sled. We're going for parries. But once the Lenny's out, it's kind of hard for you to do all that much. Went for the Hail Mary, you didn't have much other choice. Yeah, that is not a fun matchup. Band versus P with assists. Let's see what the adaptation is. Because for P, gotta get the stand heavy punch out. See if you can prevent them calling their assists. Their assists are a little bit better in this mirror. What? Do we run beat extend? I'm trying to remember. 6 HP. Help them with the fake cross up. We're in. Drop. Unfortunate. Time to throw well. Guess for your life. Guess drop. Unfortunate. Good for one bar. Once that bomb's gone, good job getting through everything. Set up the reflector. I'm not gonna lie. I think if you move slowly behind the reflector and try and get a little bit of Rav down, that might be the game plan, because you can't move too fast behind it anyway. So use a little bit of the time it buys you to just get yourself into Rav, because that will help once you actually get close enough. Tag out. A little bit too much there, Dovot. Alright, how do we keep her in the corner? Yeah. Force her to block. Dovot accidentally got hit. First. Whatchamacallit. If you want to burst there, you can, Dovod. You won't be punishable. I can understand also taking it and not wanting to drain the Antizzy. But remember, projectile bursts will be gold bursts. And yeah, the plan is to start hosting the VOD reviews again. It will be a couple of weeks because the job is kind of busy right now, but I'll probably start taking over those reviews again, because it was my fault it started in the first place, so I kind of just dumped on them what to do with it after I left for a little bit. Yeah, okay, so yeah, for now Ruby is still holding up that mantle. Yeah, right, we got neutral. We gotta get stuff out. One thing you can do, Josie, even though your assist won't necessarily go full screen, it will still probably do you a lot of good to call an assist just to body block projectiles. One of the things Dovod is doing is they're just calling band, not as much to hit you with a fist. It helps, don't get me wrong, it certainly helps. But they're using it to just body block projectiles and get their own projectiles out behind it. And you have band. You have a big band assist that will do the exact same thing. But we're in. Overhead. Bombos. Patience. OP. Doing God's work. And we're dead. How do we play incoming? Get caught by the frame trap, hell danger. So, if you're up backing, I would highly recommend really having a purpose for it. So, for instance, versus Peacock, neutral jumping full screen can help you get over H-George. There's not much that neutral jumping in the corner versus Robo is going to help you do. Unless you have a plan to, like, try and move afterwards forward, but your character doesn't have a double jump, so you're kind of just not gaining any ground. Super jump forward is typically really good against Robo for at least a little bit, to gain a decent chunk of space. Cash out level 5. Zoning Dovad, the usual. I will try and focus a little bit more on your offense now, Dovad, because I have been focusing mostly on Josie getting through the zoning. It's too hot in here. Hopefully the fan doesn't come across on the mic.
Beat 'em up, guys. Action.
Please. Okay, please stop getting. Fuck. Yeah. Always keep in mind when you super what supers your opponent can do to deal with it. Or not even necessarily super, it's just what options they have. Because sometimes that super has a reactable counterplay. Oh, I mistimed that. I would think it would probably be better to do the reflector that would stand on the Robo while she's waking up, instead of try and time bubbles on her. That's just another thing in general. I think you are popping your reflector too soon. I think you can use the time it buys you to, what's it called? Sorry, brain's just absolutely short-circuiting. To set up some, bubbles behind it, just to get a little bit of extra hunger meter to where you want it to go to Ravenous, and then you pop it right before it expires. So it buys you that little bit more time, then you force them to avoid the eyes, instead of just popping the eyes almost immediately, which is what you have to do in Mom. And I just said I'd pay attention to Dovad's offense more. Got one right in for that. I'm sorry, Dovad. Focus on you for this final game. I do really like the way you're calling brass, though. I mean, it's brass, but you're doing it at good times. You're really understanding you need to fight your way back through the zoning every time you get a little bit behind and you get locked down by the projectiles.
Everybody warmed up?
you doing? Get in. And bang, set up. Just keeping them locked down. Oh, they are running grass. Yeah, so Josie, honestly, just look at how Dovad is calling grass and understand how to use it. Or not understand, but yeah. Okay, teleport in. It's a little bit risky going into the umbrella, but you were trying to find a way out of the corner. You took it. It just works sometimes. Very standard zoning. Run in. Force them to block that, make them afraid. Throw. Perfect. Good parry. Unfortunately, you still lose a decent amount of life doing it. Are we dead? Yeah, we are. Jeez. Yeah, no. So you took a couple of risks, like especially that teleport to Umbrella. Has the potential to be game losing because you could let an Umbrella set up, but I didn't see it very often. You were just playing very patient, methodical. The occasional risk will just catch people off guard. Trying to think of the other things I saw. I wish I understood P block strings better and their weaknesses to give you both better ideas of when to push block, because I think we were both a little bit too willing to push her off of us when she can't really do much besides like trying to frame trap you. But yeah, so trying to think of decent bits of advice for Dovad. Really liked a lot of what I was saying. I can't even remember how many times you went for M-Bang because they didn't get close enough for you to threaten it all that often. I feel like I saw it a couple of times, but I don't know if that was a lot of what you did once they actually got on you, or if it was just sprinkled in, and the other times you were just able to call an assist and run away. Outside of that, the other characters... The Robo got locked down a little bit, and it looks like you were pretty scared to get out of some situations in which you like just forgot about certain things, so you tried to jump heavy kick out of the corner and just the eyes popped on you and gave them a free combo. I think it was the first game where you're just blocking a reflector and you, I'm assuming, tried to up forward a hit too early and just got hit not blocking. Stuff like that takes a little bit of presence of mind, where it's like, okay, I can calm down a little bit. Overall, I mean, once you got rid of the Peacock, Robo had a pretty easy time dealing with those matchups, especially with assists. You ran a lot of the games. I mean, you were just controlling the pace of it. If you want, after I get dinner, I can retry and take a look at it and really try and nitpick some of the things you do on offense. Unfortunately, there's just not that much jumping out to me because you were doing a solid job in those games, and I wish I had more advice for you. On the other hand, for Josie, one of the biggest things, because the P mirror was what was dictating a lot of that matchup because of how rough the other matchups are for you. Again, I think what Dovad really did to send them over the top and constantly win the P mirror is they knew when to call their assist to body block and try and control neutral to take back the initiative of the zoning more. Because there were times where you got out ahead and you forced them to block, but then they'd call brass, and you didn't seem to have much of an answer. And all of a sudden you were forced to block anything. And then you wouldn't use your own brass in the same way to take back the turn. So it was... They just had like one level more understanding of the tools they have to take back the game. And I think if you rewatch those games and really try and take note of when they're calling brass, you'll probably get a better understanding of when you should do this as well. I feel like that was honestly one of the major things I noticed for the P Ditto. It was just kind of trading back and forth, but they would consistently come out on top because they understood how to take back their turn. Where you were forced to hold it and then you tried to navigate the garbage as Peacock, which is not what she's great at. She really wants to just try and fight the zoning with her own zoning. When it comes to the umbrella, I mentioned this, but you have a little bit more time than I think you do. It's a confusing sentence, but I hope it makes sense. Behind the reflector, I would walk close behind it, but if you have the time, like, if you can't walk any further forward without putting yourself at risk of projectiles in front of the reflector, that's a really good time to get a bubble out for Ravenous. Or if you... And again, if you're there and you've got a little bit of time left on the reflector, get your hunger down a little bit closer to what you want, and then pop the bubbles, and then try and have the eyes hit them. Because there were a couple times where you put it out, especially versus the Robo, and before you'd even moved much, you then just hit 2 medium punch and tried to catch the Robo with the eyes. When I think you could have gotten more space off of it, gotten a little bit more hunger, just overall set yourself up in a little bit of a better situation if you just opted to be that little bit more patient. And just as a general rule of thumb for dealing with zoners in this game, sometimes the impatient option can work, but they are usually a lot more risky, and I've found for myself the consistent slow approach, just trying to be patient and will like get advantage little by little, ends up working a lot more for fighting versus zoners than trying with a gotcha. Having the gotcha in your back pocket to like throw out when you think, okay, they won't expect this, is a great tool, but it's not something to rely on. It's a little bit of extra that you want to make them think about, but you don't want that to be the only thing they think about, or the only thing they expect, because that's all you're doing. Because if it's all you're doing, you will just consistently die for your efforts. That being said, your banned parries after the first 1 or 2 games were looking really good. That was honestly impressive. I wish I could give you more advice for Umbrella or Band versus Zoners, but I am not the most comfortable on those characters or in those matchups. So if you have further in-depth questions, I would ask people like Oddberry who have played most characters, or like... Actually, Sheep also plays both characters now. I think they still stick with the band. And get their ideas on it. And then the other point, which is a little bit counterproductive, or not counterproductive, but might sound a little bit contradictory. You still want to be almost always making forward progress versus zoners. So standing still or like doing the neutral jump in the corner, it kind of just wastes time. Again, there are some instances where like the neutral jump full screen can help versus P, it lets you dodge H George. But as a general thought process, if you're doing something that doesn't like immediately gain ground, which is as simple as just like slow walking forward, there should be a good reason for it. Otherwise, especially full screen, you are just asking PE more chip in the grand scheme of things. And I know those are 2 kind of bits of contradictory advice. I can't give great examples. I guess the way I would describe it is, especially full screen, always try and make forward progress. Once you get closer, once you're in like an active threat range, so like once you think jump medium, like umbrella, jump medium punch, or 2 medium punch are in range, once you're a real threat, you can start playing the game of, am I going to move forward or am I going to press a button? And then that's where you can start holding your ground a little bit more and don't need to worry as much about making forward progress. But you want to be moving forward until you're an active threat. And I think there were times where you just weren't doing that. Granted, it's hard. It's hard, and Dovad's team is obnoxious. So I sympathize with you 100% there. I think that's everything that was in my head. If any of y'all have further questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll probably be wrapping up the stream shortly. Shoot away. Yeah, I saw you had asked this in the lab question. So for defense, for labbing defense, it is either just get comfortable enough with those characters to set up the thing you're defending, or if you have some good friends who play those characters, ask them to hop into a training mode lobby. So I can actually just show this right now. In the create lobby, you can set it to training. And it basically acts as a multiplayer training lobby. It's a little bit jank, but it will get the job done. So if you want to practice versus something, just ask them to do whatever it is they've been doing that you've been struggling to deal with, and try and figure it out. It involves having a friend who's willing to donate their time, but usually there are people around who are more than willing to help you, especially if it's only for like 20-30 minutes. If it's a short stint, especially, just like say, hey, can you do this? I want to try and figure out what my options are here, and rinse and repeat. So for neutral, the biggest thing for neutral is, in my opinion, trying to get your autopilot and, like, in general, just your habits better. And so the way I go about doing this is I try and think of a couple things I want to specifically work on, and I will focus a lot of my energy on just like 2 or 3 points. And so I'm like, I want to hold my ground more. I need to space around this option, or I should, like, it can be really specific or it can be really broad. And it's like, if they do this, I throw here. And you all the way to, I just need to stop running away as much. And when you're focusing on those, other parts of your game might suffer, but the more you think about them, and the more you play thinking about them, all of a sudden the more natural it becomes and the less you need to think about them. And eventually they become natural to you to the point where they're part of your autopilot. You don't need to focus on that aspect of the game anymore. And you can then use that attention to notice other parts of the game. So it's like, it's the progress of going from really focusing on, like, looking at you and your character to going, okay, I understand my movement, I understand all of my tools, I start looking at the whole screen, so you all of a sudden start seeing what assists are coming out earlier, recognizing them, what to do about them, recognizing, like, oh, they're doing this, and on reaction I can, for instance, Parasol Sniper, or Pillar of Creation, as Annie, all of that sort of stuff. And so you just build a toolkit of things that naturally make sense to you, which opens your eyes to paying attention to more things, because there's less you have to think about. I did a, like, kind of waffly job of explaining it, but I hope the point comes across. Where it's, try and focus on a couple key things. Eventually, you won't need to think about them anymore, and you'll be able to pay attention to other aspects of the game. Yeah. And then it's always a rotating door of sometimes you might have worked on something, got really good on it, focused on something else, and that thing might have petered off a little bit. And so it's like, okay, I need to revisit this. Polishing your autopilot is a never-ending battle. Everyone does it all the way up the skill chain. So yeah. On that note, I think I'll be calling it an evening there. If you'll have any further questions, again, please just ping me in the channel and I'll try and get back on it as soon as possible, probably after I eat dinner. Hope y'all have a wonderful evening. Have a good night, everybody.